During the first 10 years of the 20th century, the art of cartooning reached a new phase with the development of animation. And one of the most important developers was the great pioneer Max Fleischer. Fleischer's experiments led to the first realistic animation as early as 1915 with his invention of the rotoscope. His brother Dave was filmed in a clown costume, and the footage was painstakingly traced, frame by frame. In 1925, Fleischer produced the first animation with sound and introduced the world to the famous bouncing ball, which was an early version of karaoke and the music video. In the 1930s, Max Fleischer was a leading animation pioneer for Paramount, with the first female cartoon star, Betty Boop, who embraced the jazz age with her guest stars, Louis Armstrong, Don Redman, and Cab Calloway. Fleischer's realization of Popeye the Sailor made him a box office champion who was more popular than Mickey Mouse. In the 1940s, Max Fleischer's Superman took animation to new heights with its breathtaking action and pulp fiction imagery, which continue to amaze and inspire audiences today. But Max Fleischer was much more than a cartoon producer. He was an artist, a writer, and an inventor with over 20 patents for animation and motion picture processes. Max Fleischer was truly a 20th century Renaissance man. Now, many are rediscovering the magic and delight of the Max Fleischer film legacy. Unfortunately, this legacy is in danger of disappearing, since many of these important films are 100 years old, with others approaching that point. Some are already considered lost forever. Our mission is to round up what survives and restore the Fleischer film legacy in modern digital form so that the public will continue to enjoy the works of Max Fleischer. But most of all, so that current and future animators will be inspired and learn from these masterful works that all began with a pen and an inkwell.
Yesterday we celebrated Max's 140th birthday for Max Fleischer, so let's give Max a round of applause. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about this with a couple friends of mine. I was like thinking just how inspirational, just how influential Max Fleischer in his studio was for Hollywood and, quite frankly, the entire film industry. If you guys don't know, the background of Max, he invented the rotoscope, which today we now know as motion capture. They did the bouncing ball cartoons, which we now know as karaoke, music videos. He was the one who created the rotograph, which is placing, what is it?
It's a compositing process of doing in-camera maps, so if anybody knows what that is, that's how that was done. Where you can combine two images.
So that's how they, in those early, out of the inkwells, that's how Max is interacting with Koko. They had to create that so they can make that happen. So, there's just a bunch of stuff that the Fleischers and the Fleischer Studios just accomplished, and it's always such a thrill to just talk about them and share their work with all of y'all. Like I said, the stuff that they made, Popeye, which was a comic character, and they made a big success on the big screen. Superman, I mean, really think about it. In my opinion, I think those cartoons are the best, adaptation of those comics. And I still think they're so influential, and I hope that, if y'all are fans, you guys keep sharing the cartoons and keep sharing it, because it's just so amazing. And I really just want to inspire more artists like Max Fleischer and Dave and the rest of the gang. But yeah, I just want to say thank you all so much for being a part of this, being a part of our project, being fans, loving this stuff. Thank you so much. I just want to get that out of the way. Just really thank you.
I'd like to interject something too. We've come full circle because we were in this very room a year ago when we started this. And it's been very gratifying to see the turnouts and the enthusiasm. But this is a fortuitous event that we have today for two reasons. Not only yesterday was Max Fleischer's birthday, but last Friday was the 90th anniversary of the theatrical premiere of Popeye the Sailor. And you're going to see a little tribute to that as well.
So let's first introduce the panelists. I'll introduce myself. My name is Maurico. I started this company called Rockin' Pins. Basically, I grew up loving Three Stooges, Groucho, Gumby, Richard Pryor. Nobody was making merch of it. I decided, hey, I want to connect with these estates. I want to connect with these families and see what I can do to keep the momentum going, keep these people alive. So thankfully, yeah, these last couple of years, I've been just actively working to do screenings, do restorations, just do any events for fans that still love this stuff. We just had a Gumby show at the Bob Baker Theater last Saturday. It was filled with people just laughing and having a good time at the Gumby show. One of the highlights that we also had this year was we had Matt Groening and Billy West and Paul Dini join us for the Fleischer show. So yeah, I'm kind of just using my merch company to just keep this going. So yeah, I just love this stuff. Someone that I just means so much to me. I really could not do this without her. It's such an honor to present her to y'all. It's Jane Fleischer Reid. She is the granddaughter of Max Fleischer. Her father is Richard Fleischer, the film director, who directed Soylent Green, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So yeah, her family is just a bunch of geniuses, and oh man, if you guys ever get the chance to ask her about the, because Disney created 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, so Richard had to get his dad's approval to work with Walt Disney. If you guys know the history of Walt Disney versus Fleischer.
That's a story within itself.
Right. And last but not least is Ray Pointer, animation film historian. He's also an animator. He worked on stuff like Cat Dog, Bebe's Kids, the Tom and Jerry film where they talk. I have a soft spot for that one. So there's Ray Pointer. He knows everything about the Fleischer work. I'm sure y'all are familiar with Disney and how there's like 1,000 historians and all that stuff. But with Ray, his specialty is Fleischer Studios. So to get to talk to him about how the Fleischers created this stuff and how they ticked is just always such a fascinating treat. So yeah, I'm happy to have Ray and Jane on the panel. They mean the world to me, and they are the ones that are helping us make this happen. So yeah, thank you both. Thank you. And also a shout out to, of course, Paramount Pictures, who, man, the fact that they're letting us, work with their original nitrates and negatives and all this sort of stuff, I never would have imagined that would ever happen. So big shout out to Paramount Pictures for letting us make this happen. So yeah, as Ray mentioned, we're celebrating a lot of stuff. And we did just have Popeye's 90th film anniversary. So what I'm going to show is a quick video intro that Ray did, kind of want to give you guys a background on Popeye if you're not familiar. But yeah, 90 years of Popeye, easily the funniest cartoons I've ever seen. You guys grown up with those, Alibaba, Sinbad, Aladdin, my God, they're just hilarious. So let me play this quick video for you so you can remember Popeye.
December 19th, 1919, a new serialized comic strip by Elsie Chrysler Seeger debuted. It was called Thimble Theater. Its cast included the Oil family: mother, Nana Oil, father, coal oil, son, castor oil, and daughter, olive oil, with Olive's boyfriend, Ham Gravy. On January 17, 1929, the cast was taken on an adventure to Dice Island. To get there, Coal Oil and Ham Gravy needed to hire a sailor. Spotting a man by the dock, Castor Oil calls off panel.
Hey, are you a sailor? You think I'm a cowboy?
This was the first appearance of Popeye the Sailor. He was so popular with readers that he became a permanent cast member. Max Fleischer had been following this and approached King Features Syndicate about bringing Popeye to the animated screen. Neither King Features nor Paramount thought that such an ugly character could become a successful film star, but Max was confident and secured a license for Popeye in November 1932. For a screen test, Fleischer included him in the Betty Boop series titled simply Popeye the Sailor, which was released on July 14, 1933. And while it was technically a Betty Boop cartoon, it was clearly Popeye's from the start. And the famous theme song composed by Sammy Lerner established the character immediately.
I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eat my spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I want some kazookas, what hazel palookas, what ain't on the yoke, and swear. I mix 'em and bust 'em, and all these I rubs 'em, and none of 'em gets nowhere. If anyone dares to miss my fist, it's buff and it's wham, understand? So keep good behavior, that's your one lifesaver, with Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I'm strong to the finish, 'cause I eat my spinach. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Well, blow me down.
So what we're doing, so this is a full cartoon, I'll just let it play while we're talking. But what we're doing is essentially doing screenings celebrating 90 years of Popeye. If you guys are interested, follow us at Fleischer Tunes, and any screening that you see is completely different. There's literally like, I don't know, 400 plus cartoons, so we try and throw in a mix of different stuff each time. But one of the highlights that we're doing, our collective is doing specifically, we're restoring the public domain Popeyes. And one of the Popeyes that we found at the Library of Congress was Popeye meets Sinbad the Sailor. And just want to skim through. This is the 35 print that we restored from the Library of Congress. This is a German print. There's nothing really German about it other than it's from Germany, so it's not like German titles or anything like that. But this just shows you just how gorgeous these cartoons are. And basically what we're trying to do is find the best elements of the Fleischer cartoons and restore them to the original look. I'm sure plenty of you have seen, those old public domain cassettes where the cartoons are faded and red and just beat up. But what we're trying to do is go directly to the original camera negatives, get them scanned, get them restored, get them looking as gorgeous as possible. And this is one of the results of our work is this Popeye and Sinbad that we showcase, which we scan in 4K. So, if you guys are big nerds about 4K, we do have 4K. But one of the cartoons that we got that essentially jump-started my mission for this is a cartoon called CobWeb Hotel, which features these two little flies and this big spider that runs a hotel. That's one that I'm going to play for you now. I'm not sure if y'all seen it before in this condition, but it's mind-blowing. So without further ado, I'm going to play CobWeb Hotel.
The register. You'll be very pleased. Newlyweds. Thank you. Now make yourselves at home while I prepare your room. I'll be right back. Here is your sweet.
yeah, essentially this gives you the breakdown of what we're trying to do. We're trying to just save these cartoons. And what I have on screen, as you can see, the left side is the version that we've all been used to. You know, those bad, ugly prints from the DVDs, VHS era. And on the right is the original camera negative that we restored. And we played that on Tune In With Me, which is a channel. If you guys don't have it, it's on MeTV. It's an over-the-air channel. They play cartoons every morning. They play Popeye, Blue Panther, Looney Tunes. And that's a partner that we're working with to get these cartoons back out there to the public. But as you can see, you know, the difference is just amazing. And one of the cool things that we're also getting to do is going back to the Betty Boop cartoon. So there was like a Blu-ray set that was released at this point, I don't know, a couple of years ago by a company that worked with Paramount. But the thing with that DVD set is they didn't know about movie tone aspect ratio. They didn't know that, hey, you're not supposed to squeeze this and do that. So what we're doing is going back to those original elements, refixing, you know, what was done incorrectly, and we're putting out brand new 4K restorations of our work. And that includes the 3 Cab Calloway cartoons that they did with Fleischer Studios. And that's actually one that we're going to show next. So we're going to show you our brand new 4K restoration of Betty Boop's Snow White.
In the correct aspect ratio.
Just a quick little like nerd thing from me. When I was watching the Blu-ray version, there's a couple scenes that like you hear some noises going on. You obviously hear some action going on, but you don't see it. So thankfully, now that we went back and fixed the aspect ratio, you're going to get to see the top and bottom of what's supposed to be on screen. So without further ado, Betty Boop's Snow White.
My own mama would never
Ellie Cowers, girl, sing me a song. Hooray! Jazz band, top man, sweet praise, hallelujah, as we go along. Folks, now that you have heard my story, say, boy, hand me over another shot of that blue. If anyone should ask you, tell them I got those St. James in burn.
Mirror in my hand now, who's the fairest in the land?
The fairest in the land.
So yeah, we have all three Cat Cowboy cartoons restored in 4K, ready to stream. Just another shout out to our social media handle at Fleischer Tunes. If you guys follow that, you'll get to see our upcoming dates. I know we're going to go to Texas in August. We want to do some more stuff in New York, in the Bay Area. So yeah, please come out to our shows. Each show is completely different. Like I said, there's Popeye, Superman, Koko the Clown. This is a cartoon that we just got this morning from Italy. As you can see, it's deteriorating on the side. But this is one of Max Fleischer's, I think his only kind of almost fully stop motion episode where
Primary claymation.
so Koko goes into like a claymation world. So just to show you how innovative these guys were. So yeah, this stuff's amazing. We want to get them back out. They're back on the big screen. We feel like screening them in big theaters is the way to go. I mean, you guys have to see this on the big screen. Come on, we got to see Superman and Popeye and be in a room with a bunch of people just laughing at this. It's so amazing. And as we're, restoring this stuff, as we're getting this stuff into 4K, we're working to put it on physical Blu-ray and stuff. So when you come out to the shows, you'll be able to buy it at the gift shop. But right now, we're going to switch over to Q&A. We got Ray here, we got Jane here, you got me here. So if anybody wants to ask any question about our project, please feel free. Let's.
You got a question already?
Right over here. Yes, sir. So, first, where is your booth downstairs? You have a booth downstairs?
I wish. I've been trying to.
Okay.
Because look what Jane's wearing. We just put out this Hawaiian shirt.
You're wearing the uniform.
Yes.
But if you want rockintunes.com or Fleischer Tunes, we're connected through there, so you can find
And
our
I've got my
merch.
book here too. It's $40. That's cheaper than on Amazon.
And
But I do have a question for Ray. So, with everyone stealing everyone else, that's what we do, we steal from each other. Was there a Disney technique or gag that Fleischer would, oh, I like that, I'll use that. And was there something that Fleischer did that Disney wanted?
Okay, you've got two issues, technique and gag.
Right, so.
The Fleischer humor was not anything at all like Disney's.
Right.
Techniques, yes. Because when Walt was starting out, he was certainly aware of what Max was doing. And what Max was doing was the example to follow. And if you know Disney's history, you know that the Alice comedies were a reversal of the concept of Out of the Inkwell, only he did it the hard way by putting the live-action girl in a cartoon environment, which is a lot more difficult.
next question.
Sorry if I missed it earlier, but how many cartoons have been fully restored?
Honestly, a handful.
We have about somewhere between 10 and 20. We actually have 50 cartoons in progress. which can mean anything from tomorrow to next year sometime. But we're working on it tomorrow. And we have a number of people that are helping us with that, and they go at different speeds. But our hope is, and we've got 50 that are definitely in progress, and there's about 160 to 200 of the earliest ones and the color classics that we're working on to get restored first before we go to some of the other ones. Yeah, back there?
So you said you have Blu-ray stuff in the works. Do you guys have anything available for sale today?
Mauricio, we're going to be Blu-ray?
Honestly, just because you only have the panel schedule, the only thing we really have are raised books, which go into every piece of the Fleischer.
Well, actually, I have had a 2-disc DVD set out of the inkwells for the past 20 years. And it's all but 30 of them. I was still looking for those, and we're finally coming into those. So, since the technology changed to digital in the last decade or so forth, the vision had been to go to Blu-ray.
Which
because
website?
the technology has improved.
What's your website, Reid?
InkwellImagesInc.com.
So you can buy a book today, but you get.
And I have my cards, by the way.
Hi, I know everything is with the comes to film and animation is mainly here on the West Coast, but my mom and I, we've been trying to come here every year from New York, and it's interesting you said like, oh, we'll have some filmings and screenings in New York, but are you working with like any main film festival, or are you just showing like free screenings, like they have like Shakespeare in the Park and like showing stuff like that? Would you look for that mainly, like do independent screenings and then maybe like film festivals and stuff like that?
Well, last year we were at New York Comic Con. Are we going to be there again this year?
Yeah, and can you let us know where we played our Earth Control?
Yeah, we played. The Metropolitan Museum had basically a retrospective of vintage animation, and they showed Koko's Earth Control, our restoration of it, like a couple of weeks ago. And apparently it was just with live music. That's really cool.
So you know that's still going?
I think that one's done, but New York is kind of our next major city. We want to be in New York.
Not only that, it's a homecoming because that's where they started out.
Yeah.
At 1600 Broadway, and that building was torn down 20 years ago.
So we want to do screenings where I just go into a theater, rent it out, play the cartoons, and then also we're trying to get into film festivals and animation festivals in general, just throw in like a little Fleischer here and there. But yeah, we want to, as much as we can, we'd love to.
The gentleman in the back in the black shirt was just before.
Ready?
Yes.
The restorations were stunning that we just saw.
Thank you.
Who determines the colors and what goes into restoring them to what was intended?
Well, we work, first of all, as a team. So when, the three of us will look at what's happening, but we're using restoration experts Steve Stanchfield with Thunderbeam Animation and Thad Komorowski, who has also done a ton of restoration work. Those are our primary people. And they will make the judgment call if there's a judgment call to be made, and then they run it by us where we can say, yeah, we agree, or what if.
But the other thing too is, again, going back to the original negs, then you're working with what was originally filtered. And then too, it's to the credit of the advanced technology and the fact that video can reproduce these subtle colors that television couldn't before. And then what everybody had been seeing on the 16mm versions, to make a technical thing simplified, if you're dealing with different film stocks, they're going to respond to color differently. So that's why the colors previously were distorted, because Eastman stock does not respond in the same way that Technicolor did, because it was a dye transfer process rather than a photographic color process. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Close enough.
Beautiful.
Sure with the hat?
Yeah, so Fleischers, as you said earlier, they invented a lot of things, a lot of techniques, including one of my favorites was the rotating table with the picture table come off.
That's the stereoptical process, yes.
Love that. Does any of that equipment exist anymore?
This is going to sink your heart too, but Jane knows this. But in Expo 67, both of the Fleischer brothers were there, and we have their interviews. And Max's daughter lent them a rotoscope model, and they never got it back. And Jane's father went back to them to get it back. And they said, oh, she donated it. So much for our Canadian sisters. They have dishonest people there too.
We love Canada. So.
We love Canada because I have Canadian ancestors too. But that was not a nice thing. And it didn't happen to the Fleischers either. The McKay heirs donated Winsor McKay's films. And I got this through their attorney, Robert Brotherton. They never got their films back either. And so that's how the Cinematheque Québécois has them. They never returned them.
Next question.
They still have them, and they never did any 4K transfers. I tried to get that going about 12 years ago and couldn't get anywhere.
Well, we did get some cartoons out of Cinematheque.
Oh, yeah, the stuff we're working with, yes. McKay stuff is another issue altogether.
I know recently, either Paramount or Warner Brothers, they released a new Blu-ray set of the Superman cartoons.
That was Warner's.
Okay, I wanted to know if you guys were working with them, or if you're trying to get a technique in terms of restoring those cartoons.
If anyone from Warner's is here, we love you. We want to work with you. Please contact us. I wish. The only stuff, because of the Superman films are public domain, if we find a 35 print somewhere else, then we can scan that and restore it ourselves, which we did for 2 of them. But it's better to work off the original negatives. But
Well, in fairness, I can add a little bit of enlightenment to that because there's been some negative talk about what they did with them. And I recognize what some of the problems were. And in fact, the basic problem with a lot of these films when they went to TV, they were truncated and some of the music was changed or the titles were changed and so forth. And we're trying to put all that back together to make it look like it originally was. In the case of this recent Superman release, I can tell that something must have happened with the original introductory sequences and soundtracks because some of them have been mixed up. And people that have seen the other versions for years can spot it. And in 2 or 3 cases, it's really obvious because there were sound effects behind a special animated title, and you don't hear the sound effects. So, in all fairness to them, we do not know what they had to work with. And to give them a little bit of credit, they may not have had the depth of information that we on this side may have had. So, other than that, what they had to work with was really great because the soundtracks actually sound better than they ever sounded before. It's just a matter of matching up the correct opening and ending music. That's the only thing that's wrong with them as far as I can see.
by the way, something that's overlooked from the Fleischer's history are the feature films. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Gulliver's Travels, Mr. Bug. But as you, on screen, this is a screenshot from the 4K remaster of Gulliver. And we are working on screening Mr. Bug. So we already have a Mr. Bug in 4K. We just want to get a nice theater and get all of y'all in there.
You may have seen it on TCM a few years ago.
It's a different, we have a...
Yeah, well, that was the Museum of Modern Art print. So there has not been a return to the original negs in decades.
So yeah, look out for that. We're going to do screenings of the films as well. Any other questions?
When we started this, I was contacted by several people saying, oh, I hear you're doing this. I think I have something in a closet that I haven't opened in 25 years. It was really touching, the amount of outpouring of people saying, I either have stuff or I think I have stuff. We have a collection, we're not sure what to do with it. It's been fantastic.
Anyone else?
That one was in Senegal. That's the only one that they used that process. And then after that, until 1936, they were stuck with the two-color Technicolor process.
Portia Cinderella has been, yeah, we have restored that.
We're working on it, because here's a raw scan. So we actually have to combine right, we have to combine 3 different film strips to get the color on this?
Two.
2 of them.
That's a two-strip process. And that is a strip process, by the way, meaning it was 2 different films, 2 different emulsions with 2 filtered negatives. Two-color Technicolor was not a strip photographic process. So we have to be clear about that. Both a red and green image were photographed on the same negative. Yes.
But yeah, just to kind of close things out, we're restoring the cartoons. Popeye, Superman, Koko the Clown, Betty Boop, the color classics. They look amazing, they look gorgeous in high definition. Please come out to one of our shows. We really love it when people just laugh and enjoy this stuff. It's just such a thrill. It's just what we need, I think.
And let's not forget the screen songs with the bouncing ball.
That's right. So aside from, saving the actual cartoons and the images, we're also restoring the audio. So audio from the Mills Brothers, from, Cab Calloway, from Louis Armstrong. Pretty much all that material that was recorded for the Fleischer cartoons, we're also working on restoring. So we're not just, restoring, cartoons. I feel like we're restoring history. New York history, jazz, the animation, the stuff that these guys created is just so fascinating. And to think that just families and people just took hours and hours just drawing this stuff, making it look as amazing as possible. And, the fact that I feel they were being ignored these last couple of decades, I think, it's just, I don't know, it just motivated me to hook up with Jane and Ray and get this stuff out there for y'all. And I love this stuff. So thank you again. But thank you all so much again. Appreciate it.